Hello friends, welcome to Lighting Up the Scoreboard from MileHighReport.com. I'm Ted Bartlett, and we're entering week 3 where the Broncos will be traveling to Oakland to play the most hated Raiders. Hopefully if you're a Bronco fan visiting, you're not assaulted by any drag queens there. You have to feel pretty good about the Broncos' chances of going 3-0 this week. Of course, the punditry is always meant negatively. Couldn't see that coming and are going to be doing a lot of hand-wringing, I think, saying how could this have happened and who could have seen it coming. Well, at Mile High Report, we could, we did, and I think we're going to see it happen. So strap in, let's talk some offense against the Raiders defense, and let's hope for a good week. As always, we start out talking about the Raiders defensive scheme and their personality. Schematically, for seemingly forever now, they've favored a base 4-3 look, and sort of the reason for the consistency is, as I understand it, is Al Davis himself has a lot of say over what the defense does, and in fact always hires the defensive coaching staff. He generally has always favored offensive-minded head coaches and a defensive coordinator that he can work personally with. A lot of people criticize Dan Snyder and Jerry Jones for their meddling in personnel decisions for the Redskins and Cowboys, but Al Davis actually gets involved in the scheme and the way the defense plays, which, you know, he's a former coach, but still that's pretty odd for an owner in the NFL to do that. Looking at the group here, Greg Ellis and Richard Seymour are both recent acquisitions, meaning starting later in the offseason they came to town. Greg Ellis was released by the Cowboys, and Richard Seymour came in a trade for the 2011 first-round draft pick from the Patriots. The trade was slammed. I really like it for the Raiders, actually, as I wrote a couple weeks ago. They're very good defensive ends and are going to need to be controlled. Seymour will bounce inside in some passing downs, especially to play defensive tackle also. The massively overpaid Tommy Kelly is at one defensive tackle. Our old friend Gerard Warren, nicknamed Big Money but not making as much big money as his buddy Tommy Kelly, plays the other defensive tackle typically. The linebacking core is pretty good. Kirk Morrison's a good middle linebacker. Thomas Howard's very fast. He's listed there as a right side linebacker. He really plays more of a weak side role, and Rocky Brown plays a strong side role generally. I have them notated like this kind of for simplicity's sake, but they do play a Sam and Will kind of alignment. Nnamdi Asomugha is an outstanding cornerback. Chris Johnson, not so much. Very beatable on the other side. A guy I've really come to like is Tyvon Branch, strong safety from the University of Connecticut, not just because I'm from Connecticut. He's really shown a lot of ability to cover tight ends one-on-one. He's actually the smallest of these four players, and he's a natural cornerback, but he brings a lot of propensity for contact to the strong safety position and does a nice job there. Michael Huff in the first 2 weeks has actually forced 4 turnovers. He's listed on the depth chart as the backup to Hiram Eugene, but from watching video of the last 2 games, I see Huff on the field more and doing more, so I went with him as the starter here. In nickel situations, which we'll probably see a fair bit, Brown would come off the field. Number 26, Stanford Route, would be on the field for those kind of situations. Overall, this is not a great defense, particularly against the run. They're more solid against the pass, but you can really run on this team, and Kansas City really did run on this team last week. I think that's going to be the key to beating them this week. As I just mentioned, talking about the defense, the key to beating the Raiders is really to run against them. You really want to do a good job of that. So we're going to start out talking about a play that we've all seen many, many times. Just an inside zone run to the right. We're going to feature Noshawn Moreno and use a 3 tight end alignment, which had great success against the Browns last week. I expect to see it a lot this week. And as always, the zone blocking scheme is sort of a synchronized methodology of going about hitting the linemen. Ryan Clady and Ben Hamilton on the left side will be expected to cut their defenders down. Wigman will momentarily double team Tommy Kelly, and then try to get out and hit the middle linebacker Kirk Morrison also. And the play side blocks of Cooper, Harris, and Daniel Graham. Richard Quinn, the abominable second-round draft choice, will be expected to seal the edge and hit the very good tackling Nnamdi Asomugha to complete the hole from Moreno to run through. As we roll the footage from Madden here, we're going to see the snap, the steps to the right, and then the real good zone blocking, particularly by Ryan Harris and Chris Cooper in front of Moreno. And he gets right down to the goal line, makes a big play on first down from the 10-yard line. Just pause it here in the hole, you can really see where especially Harris's block is excellent, and Moreno's able to cut back toward the middle. Showing it again, Cooper's going to hit Kirk Morrison from that angle, the middle linebacker, the key guy, and from Morrison's angle, you see he overruns it slightly to the outside and gets hit by Cooper. And finally, from Marino's angle, nice open lane right to the goal line. Very big play. Now in the same situation, which I set up to look like first and goal from the 10, a kind of a tough situation in close in the scoring area, you can also run play action. And that's the real main reason against the Raiders particularly. They're pretty solid in pass coverage, but if you get them overcommitting to the run, you can really do some play action business against them. If you think about the visit to Oakland last year, early in the season in week 1, they really had a lot of success and kept the Raiders off balance all night. So this is kind of the same play construction. Marino, we're going to ask him to widen his run out a little bit to help draw the man-to-man coverage with Kirk Morrison away from the play. And Orton's going to fake the handoff and loop back to the left. And our primary option on the play is Daniel Graham coming across the middle, Richard Quinn being the secondary option, depending on what the safeties do. But Graham is going to be the person where we're going to want to hit here. The strong side linebacker over top of him cannot cover him. Rolling the second play, you see the wider run, the fake handoff, and the open tight end. The throw's a little bit behind him, but it's an easy catch in between a couple of defenders. The key to the play is really timing. So you see the mesh point there, you see the middle linebacker and the strong safety flowing downhill. That's exactly what you want. You're coming back across the grain to Graham over the middle for the easy touchdown. Really, when you execute this play right, and you're running the ball well with that zone stretch play, you really can do great things with this play. As we've seen over the years, it was a key staple of the Shannon Sharp repertoire. Daniel Graham's a really good receiver and is able to make the play here and score the touchdown for the Broncos. Kirk Morrison, as you see, flows downhill here. I wanted to show from his perspective. That's the guy who could really disrupt this play if he was going in the right direction with it. Instead, Brown, number 57, who can't handle him, is left to try to cover him all the way through the end zone. Final matchup I want to talk about for this edition of Lighting Up the Scoreboard is a shotgun trips look. And what we want to do, as I mentioned, the Raiders don't blitz a lot historically, but we want to invite them to blitz on this play. So a lot of defensive teams will automatically decide to blitz off the short side of the field if you go trips or if you empty the backfield. So we're going to do both for them. We got a trip set up to the right, and we're going to motion Correll Buckhalter, who's in the game here. We're going to motion him out to the left, leaving an empty backfield. We're going to invite number 53, Thomas Howard, to blitz off the edge. And the idea is the trips on the right is there to occupy some defenders, to make people worry about rub plays. But really what we're looking at is what happens between Eddie Royal and Buckhalter on the left side. That's really where we want to go with this play. Eddie Royal being the primary, Buckhalter being the secondary option if he's able to get free down the field on the go route that he's going to run once he motions out. First thing we're looking for is, does Howard blitz, which he's going to here. Second thing is, we're sure we're going to get man-to-man, but we want to see some separation from Royal against Chris Johnson, which we're going to get. Now we know Eddie Royal kills man-to-man coverage, especially against tall, stiff kind of guys like Chris Johnson. And that's no exception. He catches it, gets a block from Marshall downfield, and you got yourself a 30-yard touchdown. As we bring it back, watching the replay, you see the throwing lane to the left. We pause it real quick. Really, Royal has the step there, and Buckhalter has a nice run to the outside too, but we want Royal first because he's our playmaker from the side we're going to, and he's going to make a play there. Orton takes a hit, but it's an okay hit, and we know the blitzer's coming free on it. Protection, you can see you got to let the blitzer come free because it's a max route. Everybody's out in the route, but it's worth it when you score the touchdown. Looking at Royal, he's going to get great separation here just off that cut. And Johnson never has a chance, and it's an easy touchdown, just the way you want the play to work. I mentioned the other option of Buckhalter and that he looked good. The far side safety is going to try to get out on him and just doesn't quite get there. That's a little bit of a risky throw, but a good throw is a touchdown on that play, as we see from Buckhalter there. Hopefully, like all of you, I'm really excited for the Broncos' prospects of going 3-0 and having a real good offensive day this weekend. Thanks for joining us at MileHighReport.com and lighting up the scoreboard. This is Ted Bartlett, wishing you a great weekend, and go Broncos.